let's begin 053 as I begin beer 002.
Hello, everyone. It's great to talk to you guys.
Wow.
That's what happens when you let Ronald kick the show off.
You know what?
He's coming down already. He's got a very tall glass of water, and he still can't get it together.
We were chatting before the show in a casual way that was much more high energy than
Right,
that.
and it's just...
Yeah, as soon as you see John go for that space bar or that trackpad, it's just like... You kind of freeze up a little bit. You clench your butt a little bit.
In recording circles, we call that red light fever, Ronald.
Red light fever?
When knowing that
Okay.
it's knowing that you're being recorded causes
Time
you
to
to
shine.
choke up.
I know. I call that character very disappointed, man.
What are you very disappointed in, man?
I'm
What disappointed you today?
very disappointed that I didn't get to see one of the movies that you guys are going to be.
I can say the same thing. So we're in that boat
Okay,
together.
yeah.
But different movies.
Different movies.
John's the backbone of this episode,
Right.
as always. Damn it.
As always.
Bastard.
So no change from the usual.
Carrying us on his
Carry
back.
on. So yeah, welcome to episode 53 of the Movie Schmovie podcast. We got a lot to talk about today.
We do.
We've seen a lot of movies.
And that's
we're
slow.
going to just kind of briefly mention, but then we're also going to do two kind of feature reviews. Like I said, John saw both, and Ronald and I each saw one of the two. Both kind of higher profile releases. One's doing pretty great in theaters, one's not.
One's in fact doing very curiously the opposite of great in theaters. But before we get to that, I think one thing we definitely need to address is last time we made a pledge
Oh, yes.
to you, more
To our
to each other. More, it was a pledge that we made to each other, but it was that before recording this episode, Steve and I would watch Record, and Ronald would watch Let Me In.
Right.
Ronald, did you watch Let Me In?
Not yet.
Oh, well, see, never mind then. So this whole house of cards is coming down. Well, Steve and I watched Record.
Yeah, we held up our end of the bargain.
Good.
We could have started talking about those movies right now or a few seconds ago, and we'd be still talking about them now. But we're actually going to hold off and do that next time. Tell them what they have in store for them next time.
Well, I think next week, the next episode, you grace upon your earlobes. It's going to be the start of our the great remake debate.
Oh, man.
We've teased it the entire run of this podcast through 53 episodes. At some point, I feel like we've always mentioned remakes. We always go back and forth, and we will finally, now that we have our third member here, our neutral party.
Yes.
Right.
We will start the great debate of remakes.
If neutral means incredibly indecisive and easily persuaded.
Yes, that's actually the definition I was going with.
So I will be moderating an intense debate between Ronald and Steve next time about remakes.
And I'm ready for it. I'm so ready.
Obviously not. You didn't see Let Me In. Look at that.
I will be ready.
I got the upper hand already, John. I feel good about this. So yeah, it's gonna be next week. But before we get too far with that, let's just kind of bring it back. You saw a few films. You said you've seen so many movies.
I've seen so many movies.
Beyond our feature ones.
Yep.
What have you seen, Ronald?
To Rome with Love, the Woody Allen movie.
Okay.
Man.
With Javier.
Yeah, I'm easily...
Oh, wait, is Javier in that?
No, he's not in that one. That's
You could have said with Sean Penn.
Yeah.
No, that's the one.
That's the one.
That's Christina.
Yeah.
Vicky Cristina Barcelona.
I always mess up the order. Anything with three of something. Or
What's the one that
It's Vicky
Elizabeth
Cristina.
Olsen was in?
no! Don't.
What's it called, Ronald?
Don't try to get me to do
What
that.
is it called?
Marcy May, Christina Barcelona.
That's it, John. God, John.
I can never get it, man. Anytime there's like multiple names involved, fail sauce. So I saw that. That was a solid movie, entertaining. Woody Allen is just an ode to Rome. You know what I mean? It's just like his last offering. What's the one about the poets?
What?
Woody Allen movie about
Midnight in Paris.
Last year's one of my favorite films.
Yes, one of his favorite. I don't know why. Okay.
Did you see it, John?
You know, I didn't, but I think I might like it just because Woody Allen's one of those guys that I sort of worshipped at his feet for a little while, and then he's just the best thing and the worst thing about him are the same thing, which is that he keeps making movies. Like I like that he makes one every year, and it's kind of he's not precious about it, and I think that's really cool. But I think that also results in a lot of kind of half-assed movies.
I saw the comedy.
Oh, I've been wanting to see that.
Tim and Eric.
I mean, I know fully well what to expect. Kind of. I know that it's not a comedy.
If you know Tim and Eric, you know that it's going to be awkward and weird, and you're going to have moments of laughs, but it's not like anything I've seen before. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
It's like a series of sketches into one. It's not even coherent with the whole, but it's worth checking out if you like that style of comedy.
Wasn't that was at the film festival this year?
It was,
Yeah,
and I wish I would have been able to see it there.
Yeah, it's been on demand for a couple of weeks. I just haven't made time to.
Am I
watch
just
it.
shooting off the ones I've seen? Or
Yeah, why not? I mean, just kind of suggestions for people to maybe check out.
Also saw Why Stop Now, the movie with Jesse Eisenberg and Melissa Leo and Tracy Morgan, directed by Phil Dorling. It was pretty good.
I remember seeing a trailer for it, but
it was okay.
I don't recall much about it.
Meh.
Pass?
I mean, pass.
Okay.
Oh, but I did see End of Watch.
Oh, man.
I did see End of Watch.
Was it great?
Yeah, it's
No, it's crazy that you say
It's
that because I just
really
read a long article last night about how it's actually opening back up in like 2 theaters.
It needs to.
Along with The Gray next
Really?
week. Yeah, these films that came out earlier in the year that
right.
they think is going to get some consideration for awards. And End of Watch, the whole article was about
End
that,
of Watch.
that article. That,
so
that
so
film.
think found footage, cop movie style. Man, it's different. It's something that I've never really seen before. So it's about 2 cops existing in L.A. So Jake.
So they
Gyllenhaal's-
exist. They exist. They're not in some kind of void.
Right,
They're not
exist.
projections of someone's imagination.
Right. So they're
Okay.
basically in this cop sort of situation where the Brian is Jake Gyllenhaal. He's taking a film class while he's being a cop, and he decides to document his whole experience in this area of Compton, pretty much. And it is intense. It is crazy intense, and it mixes actual film with like the found footage that they have, and it goes from Brian's character to some of the gangsters have cameras and they're filming some of it, and it just kind of intertwines all these stories. And what makes it so amazing is there is a series of busts that they keep having, and you don't know how they're related. And then you find out that it's a bigger situation going on that kind of supersedes the idea of being a good cop. You know what I mean? Like there's this point where they're like, you need to back down. Don't look into this stuff. They do it, and then shit gets insane. It's a great movie, especially if you like movies like Southland.
Hell yeah!
I mean, shows like Southland.
Yeah.
You'll love this movie. And The Watch was a sleeper.
I need to see it.
What if you like movies like Southland Tales? Will it help you out in any way?
This movie would probably make way too much sense.
Where are Justin Timberlake and The Rock tap dancing together? Please.
And then the last movie I saw was Ruby Sparks.
Oh, I saw that.
How was that?
I saw that a few weeks ago.
What'd you think?
I liked it.
I liked it too.
Yeah, it's kind of weird at the end, but I was into it.
Yeah.
So how does Paul Dano do in a movie where he doesn't get the shit beaten out of him, or like pieces of his face cut off in the future?
I think he emotionally gets the shit beat out of him.
He has this thing though, like Jesse Eisenberg has this thing where he acts like all jittery. So too does Paul Dano have this thing where he's like about everything.
He's like neurotic about everything.
Neurotic. I thought it was cool though. I thought it was a really cool story.
Yeah, and I liked Zoe Kazan. I thought she was really sweet, and she co-wrote it or wrote
Really?
wrote
Well,
the script for
it
it.
seemed kind of. I don't know. From the premise, it just sounded really cutesy. Did it rise above that? Like, was it?
Yeah,
I think it gets into more like heavier themes, like more emotional, mental, even.
Yeah,
themes.
man.
And with family as well. Like when you actually meet his family, who is Antonio Banderas is his like stepfather, and is it Annette Bening?
Who is the Anna?
Chris Messina.
Who is the brother though?
Chris Messina.
Okay.
Yeah, he was really good too. I liked him.
I like him on the Mindy Project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was also in Argo.
Oh yeah, he was in Argo.
Yeah. No, I like Ruby Sparks. I saw that a couple weeks ago.
It's nice to see him in a different role. What's that guy's name again?
Chris Messina. Oh, Paul Dano.
Chris
Messina.
Oh, Chris
Christopher.
Messina. Okay. Look, you said Christmas.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure he got that.
Christmas
a lot in his
Ina.
life.
It's nice to see him in a role where he isn't a dickhead, man, because he plays a dickhead a lot, and I liked how he was in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little more warm.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are the movies I saw.
Aside from the movies that we are going to talk about in more detail, I've only seen a couple. I saw Rise of the Guardians.
Okay.
Did you see that, Steve?
I did.
You did. What did you think of it?
I actually liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Right.
I thought the marketing for the movie was horrible after seeing it.
Yeah, it was a real.
was
I mean,
terrible.
like,
It's a bust.
I think that part of the problem with the marketing is we've seen some good DreamWorks animation, and we've seen some kind of cruddy looking CGI from them, and this sort of fell in between in terms of the look.
Looks very straight to DVD.
But there are certain parts where the visuals are really imaginative and really cool, and I don't know. I thought it was. I think Steve said it just right. It was a lot better than you kind of expected it to be based on the way it was being sold. And it almost seems like the studio didn't know what to do with it and kind of just put it out there.
Yeah, I was like, oh, we don't know what to do, but it has something to do with Christmas and the holidays. So let's just put it between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, I really did enjoy the story. I mean, like I thought if I was a kid, it would have been really cool to experience it. I think to see the backstory a little bit of these legends of or these characters that I remembered as a kid. But you're right, some of the visuals were, I thought, incredible. I didn't see it in 3D.
I didn't either.
But I just think that maybe some of the scenes would have played well in 3D. Like I felt like one of the better ones that I've seen recently in 3D was How to Train Your Dragon, which was one of the successful DreamWorks animations that you're referencing. And the 3D was incredible. There was a couple of scenes where I was like, maybe I should have seen it in 3D, like some of the. Like with the snow scenes and like when Jack is like battling.
It's a cool climax. And actually, I was asking Henry about how he felt about it. And he said he liked it best. Of course, every kid's going to say they liked the last movie they saw the best. But he said he liked it because the ending was even happier than Wreck-It Ralph. And I thought about it and I was like, I couldn't really decide how the ending was really that much happier than Wreck-It Ralph, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't.
I'm trying to think of who it was happy
I can't
for.
find a happier.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, besides renewing the belief in these figures.
I think what we have there is the fact that he's 5 years old.
Yeah, that's probably what it
and
is.
so
He
I remember
knows
that.
way
I remember
more than
saying
us.
always that the last movie I saw was the best movie I'd ever seen. So
I still do that, I think.
Really?
a little bit that way. I'm a little bit. That's why I always like to take a day or something
But I
before
love
we
that
talk about it.
he had an explanation for it.
The one thing I thought was kind of funny about it was that in the movie, the whole premise is you've got Sandman, Tooth Fairy, Easter Bunny, Santa Claus. These are the ones that they're all sort of safe. Everybody kind of believes in them. All the kids believe in them. But Jack Frost is having a hard time kind of cracking into the club because he's supposed to be such an obscure, hero.
That's pretty cool.
But I don't remember the Sandman ever being like a real thing to me too when I was a kid.
I had a conversation with my girlfriend after the movie. I was like, I know what the Sandman is, but more so from that song.
Yeah,
you
maybe
know,
that's
like that
why.
Mr. Sandman.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, yeah, he was like, in some ways, like the backbone of the group. Like, he was almost like the strongest.
Didn't he make people go to sleep? Is that what it was?
He like helped them dream.
Yeah.
Or he like,
I guess that's why it's so.
Well, also like the way they kind of corrupt that with like turning it into his power into kind of a nightmare power in the movie was kind of cool. But yeah, and it's like I thought the villain, I thought his look was sort of uninspired and kind of just blah.
I did like the voice. Was it Jude Law?
Yeah, Jude Law was good.
Awesome. Yeah.
And also, let's just say that the name Rise of the Guardians could not be more like
It's vague.
Well, it's confusing because everyone's going to think of that owl movie from a couple of years ago.
I did.
Oh, yeah.
Legends
Me
of the
too.
Guardians.
That's what I
The
thought.
Owls of Gaul.
Yeah. And it was a CG animated film. I don't know.
I had no desire to see that movie, the Owl movie.
Yeah.
I'd say go see Rise of the Guardians though.
Okay.
I liked it. So I really only have two that I want to talk about real quick, and then we can kind of get into the features. I saw Lawless, which I was upset that I missed in the theater. John Hill Coates' new film. I was a really big fan of The Proposition, which came out a couple years ago. This film, Shia LaBeouf, Tom Hardy, Guy Pearce, who I think is amazing. Really solid film. I mean, like I really like the tone of his film. It's kind of slower. It has a even watching The Proposition 2 Lawless. I feel like it could just be a part of a series. Even though they're different. Sets.
Same screenwriter, right? Aren't they
Nick
both
Cave,
written by Nick Cave?
That tone, maybe that's something that he creates in his his stories. But
Well, he's a musician.
Yeah,
So he's like
that's-
he does sing a lot of kind of like songs about murder and that kind of almost have an old like an old as the hills kind of rustic feel to them.
that's like the movie Up and Down. So that's out on DVD right now. I would definitely check that out. And in theaters this week is also Hitchcock, which is Anthony Hopkins as Alfred Hitchcock.
It's about a guy with a crooked cock, right? That's what I've heard.
That's actually the rumors are true. That's what it is.
Okay. Enough said. Move on.
I like that.
From everything I saw of Alfred Hitchcock, like videos and whatnot, like I think Hopkins is like dead on. I mean, I've read a lot of stuff, and even some people at the screening like did not enjoy him as Anthony Hopkins. I mean, as Hitchcock, but like I guess about the accent or like his speech. I mean, everything I remember watching, I thought it was pretty spot on.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing about the movie, which I definitely recommend checking out, is that it played a lot lighter than I thought it would. The basic backdrop of it is Alfred Hitchcock making Psycho and his involvement with his leading ladies, with just the Paramount Pictures and the debacle and even getting the film made. And mainly his relationship with his wife Alma and her involvement in making his films. I never realized that she had such a hand in it.
So say something pervy about Scarlett Johansson or something. Get this back on track.
I mean, you don't see him, but she references that she has big boobs. I don't know.
All right,
we knew that already.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Ronald, you're in, right?
Man, let me tell you.
Gorgeous. Scarlett Johansson and Jessica Biel in one movie. That's all I needed to know.
Who is Jessica Biel in the movie?
She's Alfred Hitchcock.
Surprise!
Does she play a major character?
Yeah, she plays Vera Miles, the sister in Psycho.
Oh goodness.
What's wrong?
I love those two women, man.
Oh, Vera Miles.
I love
Jessica Biel.
I love Jessica Biel and Scarlett.
Janet Leigh and Vera Miles.
Janet Leigh, well, nice, man. Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson, man.
The other movie that I saw, which
Go see Psycho.
is on a
and Hitchcock. I actually need to see Psycho again after seeing Hitchcock. I was like, I haven't seen it in a long time.
Because it's mostly about the making of that film.
It's
right?
all about that.
Oh, okay.
And actually, and James Darcy plays Anthony Perkins, and I thought he was great.
Yeah?
I mean, he's only in like 3 scenes, but just the awkwardness of any interview I've ever seen with Anthony Perkins, it's like he nailed it. Gotcha. I mean, and they actually play up like the, I guess the questionable, like his sexuality even at that point and things like that. And it's kind of cool. I mean, well done by him. But yeah, Hitchcock's in theaters. I'd check that out too.
Is it? I know you were at a screening yesterday. Is it in theaters now, or is it
the 7th?
Okay,
the 7th.
So it goes wide on Friday.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So,
it is
as of today.
It is playing in select theaters. Like it's I guess probably top 10 cities. It's playing at like probably art house cinemas right now.
Mm-hmm.
But on the 7th, it goes out wider.
So see that, folks.
So
we just talked about a movie that's out right now.
Get out of here.
You got the advanced scoop on something.
You do.
I'm going to give you the far not an advanced scoop on a DVD extra that was actually really good. But it is a movie. It's part of the Alien Anthology Blu-rays, which are actually right now on Amazon are like $20 or something for all 4 movies on Blu-ray. And they have these incredibly detailed documentaries about the making of each film. And I was very surprised to find, I'd read about this somewhere, so I checked it out. I was really surprised to find that the documentary about the making of Alien 3 is incredibly frank about all the mistakes and all the problems that went into producing a film that no one was really that happy with. So like David Fincher's never interviewed for the documentary, but he's basically the star of it. I mean, there's some behind the scenes footage, but there's a lot of it's like a 3-hour, going from the inception of the script to the reaction to the film.
Wow.
It's one of the best dissections of what can go wrong, even with really talented people trying their best. That I've ever seen. And I kept thinking, well, this 3 hours, how much of this can I watch? But it was just every time it would get to a new aspect of the movie, like they would get, you saw all the problems they had with the script and you saw all the problems they had with nailing this down and getting a director. And now you're seeing the production and you're seeing how that's going wrong. Every aspect of it was plagued by one of those little Hollywood problems that it didn't matter that David Fincher was kind of like a visual genius, and it didn't matter that you had all these creative people working at the top of their craft.
Wow.
They basically were shooting without a script was the problem,
Oh.
Wow.
But it was very fascinating. I mean, I would recommend it. It almost seems like it's the kind of thing they should be showing in film school or something, just to kind of say like, because it doesn't result in a horrible film. I've never hated that film, but it is sort of, if you're going to look at that series, it is a big step down from the first two to that one. But it does kind of hold true to the idea that each one of those movies is directed by what you might consider to be a visionary director.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And so it's very interesting to see how young David Fincher was at the time, and he was coming off of doing commercials and videos. And so his ideas, since there was never a script, it was all sort of in his head. And, they were having to improvise all the time on the set, and they already had sets built for a script that they weren't shooting anymore and all this kind of crazy stuff.
Yikes.
So yeah, I would say I think
check
it's
that out.
It's
that
it's
good.
if I don't know if it's on any of the other releases of this, but I think this is a documentary that is longer on the Blu-ray set, but may have existed in a previous DVD version. But it's called Wreckage and Rage: The Making of Alien 3. And that
how does the movie look on Blu-ray? Like, how do the?
Yeah, I was really bummed out to see how poorly the effects in that movie have aged, because it's so often when you're watching one of those making of things and they show the pre-visualization and they show what they did on set and they build up to the actual effect, and so often you go like, oh, and that's how they got it to look so cool, and this one you're like, oh yeah, but this was the mid 90s or whenever it was, but it's like CG was just like if that movie had been made 1 year later, they would have been using CG for some of the stuff, which for better or for worse, they were trying a lot of digital insertion of miniatures and stuff like that, and it just the color matching and the lighting didn't really match. I mean, if you look at that movie now, it does look extremely fake, but seeing how they put it together, again, just seeing all these people trying really hard, but still kind of,
Right.
So,
that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a very long catch up, but you're welcome for all those suggestions.
Absolutely.
So which feature are we going to get into first?
I guess we should talk about something that you guys I haven't seen. Let's talk about that first.
You want to go take a nap real quick?
No.
But if we go in chronological historical order,
you would be up first.
Okay. Really?
I think so. Did you ever attend a history class in school?
You understand that years don't go backwards?
I understand what you're saying.
What's the matter, Ronald?
I see what you did there.
Because I'm just sad I missed the movie. I really wanted to see the one you guys saw. So
Well, Steve really wanted to see the one that we saw.
you didn't see it?
No, where have you been all night? Yes, your car lights were
When
on.
you said that,
Anyone listening to this, we're being so coded. Basically, what happened is Ronald and I both saw Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
Steve and I both saw Killing Them Softly. Those are the other films we're going to be talking about.
Man.
Now.
Okay. All right. So I guess why don't we talk about Lincoln?
What a great idea.
He seems so excited.
Why don't we talk about Lincoln? So, I mean, we all know the story of Mr. Abe Lincoln.
I don't.
President. So, rather than talking about this man's whole life from beginning to end, this focused on one portion.
Yeah, just a few months.
Just a few months, kind of leading up to the abolishing of slavery and how it came about in the angles that the perspectives that it followed. Honestly, first and foremost, I want to say that it was probably one of the coolest looks at such a really deeply rooted issue that kind of ruined. I mean, for a very long time. I mean, the country took a very long time to recover from such a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it pulled no punches about how people felt about it, and I love that about it.
Right.
It wasn't like they asked people and they were like, "Well, I'd like to see a Negro have." It was like, "No, I don't believe."
Well, everybody.
I love
what
that.
the movie really presses that, and it's a point that I guess I sort of knew, but it was really exciting to kind of see it play out. Was just how much it was politics that saved the day.
Oh, yeah.
It was deals being made, and it was relatively shady guys twisting people's arms to get the result that they wanted. It just so happens that we all agree now the result that they wanted was the right result.
Right.
But Lincoln was it wasn't because he was so right that made him an important president. It was that he was willing to seize the day. And I think we see it in politics now, too, where you you have progressive people and you have people that are digging in their heels. And the people that are progressive, I think we love everybody guess where my political affiliations lie. Progressive people, I think the idea is that every now and then leadership has to push things forward, and that sometimes even though you're voted in by the people, doesn't mean you rely on the people for all of your actions. And I think that what you see is that Lincoln was a man who knew, I may never get a chance to do anything as important as this, and I may never get this chance again. And here it is. And I don't care. I mean, it was so political the way he pushed it through, and they didn't even appeal to people's better nature or their sense of morality. They were like greasing palms with promises of other jobs and with appointments and all this crazy stuff. It's just funny to see how much it was politics. I thought that was really well depicted, and I got really excited about that aspect of the movie. The fact that you were sort of seeing how anything happens in politics. You get a coalition together and you get the right people, and then it's like once enough people have decided, well, this is what we're going to do, and we agree we're going to do this. It's like, well, we know we've got a lock on these votes, so now we know we literally need to convince 13 or 14 people or whatever it was in the movie. And then that's really what the movie is about, is like those swing votes, like figuring out a way to capitalize on. And they use every tactic in the book.
They do. And I think that was another thing that I wasn't expecting was like, at first, the people that were very pro the slaves being free were very passionate, and it was just passion.
Yeah.
And then they thought of a way to kind of side with logic in a political arena.
Mm-hmm.
And once they started doing that, people started siding with them more. On top of greasing palms and all that stuff, those last couple people were swayed through logic. Like that was a weird. I was not expecting it to be so detailed in that way. I thought it was just going to be glossed over by kind of like, you know, what you saw in the trailer. It doesn't matter how you feel about this particular subject. How do you feel about freedom of man in general?
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel about these ideas being granted to people because you wrote this shit? Like, I get that was really cool. Felt like a play.
Yeah.
It was written like a play. The dialogue was very play-like. So if you don't like that sort of delivery of dialogue, that style of acting, you might hate it.
Like I found myself actually when they were going into the vote. I mean, I knew the amendment got passed, right?
Yeah, but it was so intense.
But you still didn't know exactly how it was going to go and what roadblocks they were going to hit. The fact that they were able to create suspense around that scene where the votes are being cast, to me, just is a testament to how sometimes, even if you go in with your guard up, which I did, and like you're so ready to think this is going to be cheesy or whatever, I got sucked into. I mean, I was very moved by that aspect of the story. You know, you almost want to stand up and cheer when the vote occurs.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes. It was funny to me, but I guess the whole idea of it is pretty crazy back then when they're discussing freeing the slaves, and at first they're like, you know, who wants to free the slaves? They're like, nobody wants to free the slaves. Yeah. Then they're like, you know that when they get free, you're going to have to accommodate them economically. Everybody's like, what?
Yeah.
Everybody's like flipping out, throwing papers up. It's pretty crazy. Like the reaction to the whole notion that once these people are free, you've thought about that. But you haven't thought about the idea that these people will need jobs.
Yeah.
These people will want houses. These people will want certain freedoms.
They need some place they can live.
Split like in places town. Socially and politically and that stuff. It's a cool thing to see it all unfold. See these people almost like go bananas. Because they were like throwing things at each other.
Yeah.
And that's cool. Because I guess a lot of the times when you hear about the way these forums are done, it seems like these people are very civilized and nice about everything. And that's not necessarily the case. These people are more educated than other people. And that really is what separated them. That doesn't mean that their opinions were any less archaic. That doesn't mean that their ideas were any less, you know. So that was really cool. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think that what's funny, I was saying before about how it's been a few weeks since I saw it, so therefore my feelings on it have almost kind of mellowed out. My general feelings now, I think, are more positive. Like I think I came into this conversation thinking that I had more sort of negative things to say about it. But I think, like, if you look at what I have written down in my notes here under Lincoln, what does it say?
Exactly what you expect.
Exactly what you expect.
Exactly
which is both,
what you expect.
Which is both good and bad. I think that, like, and I think the things about it that are truly excellent. I mean, we haven't talked about any of the performances yet. But I mean, we all know why 90% of the world was excited to see this movie is because they got an actor of Daniel Day-Lewis's caliber.
Yes.
I did the most brilliantly timed piss break I've ever taken in a movie, though. But, you know, you sort of pray when you come back from the piss break that it'll be clear that you didn't miss anything.
Right.
It's right when he's trying to there's a moment where Lincoln's trying to decide something. You're taking the slow walk around because you don't want to miss anything. You want to make sure it's a good point to break. And right as I was about to walk out of the auditorium, Jared Harris's performance began. And I knew he would probably only be in a couple of scenes. So I was like, okay, well, I got to hang around for this. and I bolted the second it looked like Lincoln was just going to be looking out the window and looking pensive for a while. And I came back, and he was still just kind of looking out the window, looking pensive. So I was like, okay, maybe I missed a scene where he like helped his son put together a puzzle or something, but I don't think I missed any cool scenes with any.
What about the slave trading cards? Can we talk about that for a second?
That was pretty nutty. Like they didn't really explain what was up with that. And
Like
I feel like if
slave trading cards, like they had like the kid like collected pictures of slaves, like these.
That's the younger.
He kind of laid them out too, like they were like trading. He's like, look,
It was almost like Pogs.
yeah,
like a really, really racist form of Pog.
racist
The most
Pog.
racist slammer ever.
Yeah,
If Pog is a horrible racist slur of some sort.
Who are the standout actors?
Okay,
let's
well,
say
everybody knows
besides
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Okay, everybody
Yeah.
knows Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh man, close second.
Pick one person. Who is the standout besides
Tommy
Lewis?
Lee fucking Jones.
Who's your pick, John? One
got
person.
James Spader.
Yeah. Oh my god. And all right, so I'll put Tommy Lee Jones, Sally Field, and Daniel Day-Lewis in the same. They were intense.
See, but there's someone else I almost feel bad that we haven't mentioned.
Who?
David Strathairn is great.
Yeah. He was. He was.
He's kind of playing the sort of voice of reason, or he's like, I mean, his role is to kind of be the kind of like, are we sure we're doing this right kind of guy. But I thought those guys like the James Spader and John Hawkes and Tim Blake Nelson play the kind of, and I intended to look into the history of this before we talked about it, but they play the kind of shady guys. Like there's the sort of like Lincoln doesn't really want to be associated with this side of the operation to convince these people. So like the guys who are going out and like promising the people the appointments and greasing the palms, those people can't really be directly connected to the president. And so they have these kind of, they're like the comic relief in the movie, but it's John Hawkes and James Spader especially and Tim Blake Nelson. But it's like it's even like Jared Harris, great example of, he's great in his little brief.
Everybody that has those brief little performances, very good. Yeah. What's that guy's name? McGill.
Bruce McGill.
Bruce McGill's Bruce McGill. I mean, like, there's no other way. He's kind of that snarky. He's great in it though. Yeah. Like everybody.
I think he's the one that's like, you're going to tell another story, aren't you? I'm not even staying.
Yeah, I love that. And
Adam Driver felt a little bit contemporary to be in it, but maybe it's only because I associate him with girls so much. But he was. I thought his little scene was kind of nice. He
was perfect for the role. Like very like. I don't know.
He kind of looks like he's from another time.
He does.
Anyway.
What's his name? Yeah, Jared Harris. I love him. I think that this is a very important movie. I think because I don't think anything has been made like this in a while. And the subject matter and I just like things like this being touched on in a way that seems fair.
Yeah.
And it didn't really make it seem like the people. Really, it made it seem like there was a very small population of people that wanted this to go through, and they fought really hard to get it. And the whole crooked side of it, the way he greased palms and all that stuff, is a necessary evil.
Yeah, right. It's like when you are able to think your way through an issue. I mean, when you're an elected official in a democracy, and you're able to think your way through an issue and put yourself down a few steps ahead of the people that you're trying to lead, you have to pull them forward. Yeah. And I think that we see that every now and then. I mean, we saw it in civil rights in the 60s. Like, there's every now and then politics have to be forward thinking and have to drag the dumb racists and the backwoods people that are afraid of their way of life changing. Those people have to be dragged forward into the future occasionally, And so it's like, it's sort of seen as an outsized, I don't know. Like, I think you can agree with like bigger government versus smaller government. You can go into that debate all day long. But I think this is one of those issues that's like, if we ever needed a government to go ahead and decide enough of this shit, it was slavery. Sure. And I still don't think this country has kind of outlived the shadow of slavery.
No, I think the realist. One thing that was really cool about Abe was how direct he was about everything he was feeling. I love when he was talking to the black guy and he's like, I've never really talked to one of you guys at length, but I kind of see the importance of this going through. Like, this is an important thing.
Yeah.
It was, I was like, wow, I didn't think that he would readily admit that he's never really had a conversation with a black person, never really hung out with a black person, but you can see why this is a shitty thing and why it should be abolished. So I thought it was a good movie. Nothing really bad to say about it.
I feel like if we talked about it the day after I saw it, I probably would have remembered little specific beats that were annoying or something. But as it is, I think that, I mean, it was a little long. But when Lincoln goes to look out the window, go take a piss then, and you'll be fine.
You'll be fine. Yeah. You didn't miss much.
No,
just the kid looking at slave trade cards.
I will find out that the scene I missed, there was like a dragon and somebody was masturbating to it or something like that.
It's like the best scene in the movie.
So yeah, go see Lincoln.
I plan to. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that you both liked it. I mean, I know there was some there was concern, especially, I think with you, John, you seemed to be a little concerned with the trailers.
I mean, I think my fears were founded, but I think that it was what we had already theorized was that it was going to be one of those movies that was that well made and therefore a certain amount of cheese. But I mean, look at the subject matter. If you were ever going to get kind of serious about something, I think this was the subject to do it about.
So Lincoln's in theaters. You got 2 thumbs up from both of you guys.
I don't think this movie needs our help.
A thumb up from each of you, so it would be 2. Go see it. Yeah, a lot of people have already seen it, but you know what? It does need your help because this is a movie that's going to stay through the holidays. It's going to go through an Oscar run. It's going to be in the top 10 for weeks to come. Mm-hmm. It's still holding strong. It's still making really good money. So, I mean, I'm sure that it's going to get that Best Picture nomination simply because you two just reviewed it. So thank you both very much.
Oh, Ronald, we did our part.
Every little bit counts, I guess.
I like to think that we were born into this historical moment for this purpose.
That was it. It just happened.
Do you think a man is made for his time, Ronald? Built for the moment in which he finds himself?
I do, sir. I do. Cue the orchestrated music.
Yeah,
John Williams. Okay, so on to the next one.
Yes.
Just to kind of jump ship to a more current setting.
But equally political, oddly enough.
Weird, right? I mean, I think that's going to be what kills this movie. Maybe not so softly, but killing them softly. So I want to Andrew Dominic film.
And what has he directed before that we know and love?
That I referenced it before in a podcast. And that was the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
Mm-hmm. And I've never seen Chopper, but I hear that that's something I should see.
Oh my God, Chopper's awesome.
But that's interesting. He's like a guy who's like in his mid-40s. He's directed 3 movies.
Yep.
He clearly takes his time. I think Killing Them Softly is a really weird movie. Do you know about the big story that's been going around about it? It got an F from the Cinema Score ratings.
And I would guess nothing else from when I saw it. I mean, people did not like this movie.
Which is odd. And then if you look at the other, I think, did I read this right? That only 8 movies in history have ever gotten an F from Cinema Score?
Wow, that's ridiculous.
A complete F?
An F. But the list of movies that have gotten the F, I wish I could call it up in my mind, but it's like it's not all shit.
Right,
it's some shit and some things that you could sort of see audiences just not getting. Mm. But what was really surprising was then to look at the movies, like there was a sampling of movies that have gotten A+, and those weren't all great either. So I mean, Cinema Score is definitely like audiences like movies with happy endings. Audiences, like most movies, get an A or a B on Cinema Score. Mm. Most people who've paid to go see a movie most people are pretty informed about what movie they're going to go see. At least they know why they're going to go see it. So they're like, tonight I want to see a comedy or I want to see a romance. So they're not going to come out being all mad.
Yeah.
They're not like me taking notes and getting all pissed off about things. So it's like it's hardly surprising, but I think that it is very interesting to note that this movie has gotten an F from audiences in 25 key cities across the United States.
Damn.
And those are people, correct me if I'm wrong, well, as though Steve works for Cinema Score, but from what
I do.
From the little reading I did indicates that when that score they get is from people who went to go see the movie expecting to like it. Like it's not from all.
Really?
So it's like that is even like
that's even worse.
It's like people that knew what they were going to see. But I'm not sure how they gauge that. I think what they do is try to gauge whether you went to see the movie based on advertising or based on information, or whether you went to see it based on like Brad Pitt was in it.
Yeah.
But the Brad Pitt was in it audience member to me is the person I could see giving this movie a big fat F. But what grade would you give it, Steve? What'd you think?
I actually did like the movie. I didn't love the film. It wasn't as good as I was hoping or thought it would be.
It wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was wildly different. And I would say that if a letter grade, I'd probably say like a B-.
Mm-hmm. A B-?
Yeah. I'd probably say.
And they gave it an F.
Well, like John said, I think it's a different crowd. I mean, I think the mass audience that doesn't either have the background of knowing what this filmmaker has done before, with Brad Pitt in it as well, and even with Chopper, which is not at all a mainstream film. But even with Jesse James, I mean, something that you could go into that movie like, oh, this is a cool Western with Casey Affleck and Brad Pitt and whatever, and it's not at all. It's like slow burn thinker. It's actually quite boring, but it's a film I like.
Right.
But I think the problem with Killing Them Softly is that it's the people that go see it because it's Brad Pitt, or that James Gandolfini's in it, or it looks like a gangster movie, or it looks like a hitman thriller.
It does from the trailer.
Everything that I just said, you get from the trailer, right? Well, it's really like 2% of that, like 5% of that.
Super stylized in the.
Well, it kind of is.
It is, and that's his touch, the filmmaker's. I mean, I think even if
what do they call that focus effect, where you focus on a very narrow range of focus, and everything in the foreground and everything in the background is out of focus.
Like bullets coming out, like when a bullet goes out of and then like they focus. I know
it has that a lot. It does it in the surface of simulating the kind of there's like a druggy perspective. Like there's one character in particular who we see shooting up, and we see his perspective, and the movie kind of takes on his kind of woozy perspective at times, in a way that's almost experimental. Like I think I found myself being kind of, rolling my eyes at the movie at certain points, but also sort of admiring its balls at those same points, because it is not a vanilla movie, and it's not a generic movie at all. But it's not a movie where a whole heck of a lot happens that you can't sort of predict based on the setup. But it's not a plot-centric film. So in that sense, you just kind of, your own expectations about what kind of movie it might be change. I would say it's too interesting to dismiss. But I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. In the end, I would say B- sounds about right. Like I think it has too many things going for it to say that it failed. But I don't know for sure because the political subtext of it is it's sort of taking place. For one thing, I didn't know. I had to do some reading to discover that it takes place in New Orleans. I didn't get a New Orleans feel.
I didn't.
Primarily because you don't see any black people. I mean, that's the main reason. I was thinking about why did this not look like New Orleans? And I was like, there's no black folks. The other thing about it was that it felt, and I found out, and this is something I almost am embarrassed not to have known, that it was based on a pretty famous crime novel from the 70s called Cogan's Trade. But it was a 1974 crime novel or crime story that it's based on. This movie really felt like 1974. I mean, the even down to even the look of some of the characters and the cars they're driving. But it's set in 2008 against the backdrop of the election. So it starts off with McCain versus Obama kind of speeches being played in the background, or you can see like the billboards. You know when it takes place. Hello, Movie Schmovie listener. This is John, interrupting right now to warn you that things get kind of spoilery from this point forward. It's not like we totally ruin the rest of the movie. We don't really talk too much about the plot, but there's a few key lines of dialogue, and particularly the last scene of the movie that we end up discussing. And if you want to see the movie completely fresh, I would recommend stopping now. I think basically Steve and I both say go see it if you're curious, but beware, you may hate it. And the movie really gets deep into that idea of promises. And it takes almost what you would call a pretty anti-Obama kind of stance. In the sense
the last 10 minutes.
In the sense of like the depiction of America is of like, this is a business, not a country.
Okay. Gotcha.
And you make promises, fuck your promises, where's my money kind of attitude,
Last line of the movie. America's not a country, it's a business. Now fucking pay me.
Yeah, fucking pay me.
And then the movie, black. Done.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
And it's literally Brad Pitt, Richard Jenkins at a bar trying to collect his money for these hits. They're watching Obama on the screen talking about the country being a community and coming together. And it literally, that's his fire for... His rant. This is what you owe me. Give me the money. Because he's trying to nickel and dime him from what another hitman charge or whatever.
Yeah.
Which actually, that's probably my favorite part of the whole movie. Beyond the scene where with the slow mo shot, like the Ray Liotta scene.
Yeah.
Which I think is, when you talk about style, I mean, it reminds me so much of. Like,
it was almost over the top. It was so stylized.
It was.
But I mean, I don't know whether like
it kind of reminded me of like David Fincher kind of. Yeah. It looked like a very David Fincher shot. I mean. Slow motion, he comes up, he's kind of,
It's like a guy getting shot up while he's getting in a car wreck at the same time. And the shot's kind of happening from inside the car. And it's just slow motion, and you're seeing the bullet go through the hand and then through the face. I mean, so it's the crazy...
wow.
Spoiler, Ray Liotta gets shot up in a car wreck in this movie. But
he always gets...
But like, it's... I did think that wreck itself was kind of funny because it's one of those wrecks where you try to play it back in your mind, and the guy, like, it's a dead man behind the wheel, and so the car rolls forward into the intersection. The guy in the other car must have been going 110 miles an hour because, like, the way the cars hit each other and go around. But yeah, I mean, it was so over the top that you mentioned David Fincher, and I think this might be an apt comparison. It's so over the top that you know it's deliberate that it's over the top. Like, you know, the way sometimes David Fincher will depict violence in such a way that you go, okay, he wants you to be uncomfortable. He wants you to think he's kind of lingering on this. What I was surprised to see in this movie is how much it mixed, like, there's the over-the-top, super stylized violence of the wreck scene that we just described. But also there's a scene where also poor Ray Liotta in this movie gets the shit beat out of him by two guys. And it's the most up close, and I mean, it's maybe still a little stylized, but it's not. Visceral. I mean, it's very visceral. It's like every punch you feel. It's one of those scenes,
you hear the hit, you know, and you feel the hit. You hear the bone, you know, or you know, whatever. And it's
like not a scene where some guys are fighting. It's a scene where one guy's like holding a guy still while another guy beats him up and asks, you know, is
in the rain
trying to get information, that kind of thing. So it's like some of the violence is really up close and personal and really visceral. Some of the violence is really stylized. This has to be an artistic choice, right? I mean, no director does both of those things accidentally. Right. So whereas I would say the movie was kind of uneven, I found it very interesting while I was watching it, try to figure out what the fuck kind of movie I was watching, you know? And then when you do get to what actually happens, it's a little disappointing because there's certain characters that you might like to see what they would, like, if you think it's going to be about like, what's this character going to do now that he's cornered to get out of the situation, it's not the movie for you because nobody really does anything to get out of the situation that they're in. Everybody's kind of doomed and everybody's kind of on a track. In that way, it reminded me of No Country for Old Men. Because pretty much the minute that Josh Brolin's character gets the money in that, he's fucked. And everyone that he loves is fucked. And everyone that he, you know, so it's like this movie has a little bit of that in it, that these guys make this mistake that they end up just kind of paying for the rest of the movie. But talk about great filmmaking. That heist scene was one of the most tense things I've ever seen. And I think that is like an instant classic scene, like the way that it was shot and the way it was acted. So
why don't you talk about this?
Yeah, I was going to mention that too after I mentioned the car scene, like just the way it was shot, and we should probably mention it's Scoot McNairy is his name. He was in Argo.
Yeah.
His great scene in Argo.
That's the actor's name?
Yeah.
He was the guy in...
he was kind of apprehensive to do the whole...
Oh, I like him.
He was kind of the most developed.
Plays into it at the end. Like at the airport where they're...
Wasn't he in the Bay, or am I imagining that?
He was. He was scientist on the boat. He was.
I like him.
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
He's one of the two guys that's involved in the heist. And Ben
we were talking about that, how like every now and then an actor kind of has a year. Or this was Scoot McNairy's kind of stealth season. Yeah.
But yeah, that scene when they actually go through with this heist on Ray Liotta's like card game ring. I don't know, just like the lack of dialogue and the emotions that some of the gentlemen are making, you know, when they're holding them up with a gun. Not to mention the sawed-off shotgun that Ben Mendelsohn gets a hold of is incredible.
Really?
Literally, it's sawed off behind the actual cartridge shell.
Yeah.
Like he's like, if I literally fire it, it's like a grenade goes off.
Yeah, he's got a lot of great lines.
Yeah. It's darkly. I mean, there's a lot of funny moments.
Stuff. One of my favorite scenes, one of my favorite lines, and it's Scoot McNairy that delivers it. The guys also sounded like they were Boston guys too.
The book takes place in Boston.
Well, I kept thinking they were Boston guys. Yeah. And that's why I was shocked.
Sounds like Ben Affleck.
So there's no black people, and everybody sounds like they're from Boston. So it has to be New Orleans. But and I am from the South, so you say New Orleans. Don't correct me. Don't say New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
Your line.
That'd be like saying you're going to eat some chitlings. You just don't say it. It's chitlins.
Right.
No, but I got totally sidetracked by my silly regional observations. Oh, but when he says at one point to his buddy Russell, played by Ben Mendelsohn, who is literally, they must be rubbing Vaseline on this guy before every shot because he just was fucking greasy. Just greasy. And like sweaty and greasy and like smoking and half out of it. But one of those characters, you always have to have, in this type of movie, if there's two guys going to pull off a heist, you always have to have the slightly heroic or protagonist-like character.
Trying to keep it together.
That's trying to keep it together. And he has to have a friend who's a complete liability. Who's just a walking, talking, like falls into a heroin nap like while he's talking to the guy about whether to get hired. But he just was exuding sleaze. But there's a scene where the two of them, they're sitting in the car, and I honestly can't remember at what point in the in the heist, this says this, but Scoot McNairy says to Russell, the other guy played by Ben Mendelsohn, says, I have it written down here. We're not the only smart guys in the world. And they're so clearly not only not the only smart guys in the world, but not even that smart. You know, there was this great moment where like they're trying to outthink that. They're like, the other guys might have thought of this. They might have thought of this. Well, we're not the only smart guys in the world. You know, it's that type of like, these are hard luck crooks that are scrabbling for money. And yeah, it's definitely one of those consequences or ugly kind of films. But I thought it was interesting to see just how much one of the things that really made it look like the past too was that the constant smoking. That always makes me think of movies of the past. But
it looked like a movie from the past. I thought it took place like in the 80s. Yeah. That's actually when I thought it. The more you describe it, the more I want to see it though. Like it sounds like my type of movie.
I think, you know, I think I said to you when we were talking about doing this record tonight, and I said that Killing Them Softly is if you could pick one or the other.
Right.
Killing Them Softly is a more interesting conversation to have because Lincoln is it is what it is.
Right.
Killing Them Softly, there's so many things that I almost feel like you almost have to figure out about.
You got to go for it. I actually think you would really like it.
I think you would.
Knowing your taste and whatnot, like I think you're beyond like the average person just roaming into a film like that. I think will hate it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the people that I saw with did not like it. As a side note, I just looked it up. The guy from the Bay, a different guy in Argo, different actor. Yeah, not Scoot.
Really?
Yeah, I forget it's. I'm looking it up real quick.
So you can forget everything I said about Scoot McNairy's big year.
He's still having a good year.
No, he's not.
Argo,
Steve. No, Steve. No, he's not.
I
quit.
Scoot, I give you kudos, my friend. But yeah, I mean, I think
really though he wins the name derby.
That's
Scoot
for damn sure.
McNairy.
You know how many reviews I've read where they write Scott, they have his name wrong, which I think is hilarious. But what I wanted to say, like you kind of mentioned it with the whole timeline and where it takes place with the politics. I think really where Andrew Dominic kind of put his hand on this novel adaptation and his screenwriters kind of stepped in was, you know, deciding when adapting this for the screen, you know, that this is really a story of about economics, you know, whether when it came out in the 70s, you know, they had their motivations for pulling off this heist, but in this world in 2008 where they wanted to set it, it goes way beyond that, and it talks more about the economic crisis in the economy and how it affected everybody.
Yeah.
You know, James Gandolfini has a small role in the film as New York Mickey, who's like a go-to hitman that Brad Pitt brings in for this job. And he, you know, and once he's here, Brad Pitt's character realizes how much everything's affected him as well. He's not this go-to anymore. He's a liability now.
Yeah.
Just like so many things.
Well, I found myself
in the world. You know what I mean?
I'm glad you brought that up because it's like. What was Scoot's character's name?
Frankie.
Yeah. Frankie is to his buddy Russell kind of what Jackie is to Mickey, what Brad Pitt is to the James Gandolfini character, where he's got like this guy who he used to, you know, either he's partnered with or he's worked with him or he used to trust him, but now he sees the guy's just falling apart. And he's like symbolic. Everything about James Gandolfini's character is symbolic of someone like in a form of decay. Like he drinks too much. He's got whores coming in and out of his hotel room. He's kind of erratic. It sounds like he's sort of postponing.
He's on the run.
He's kind of postponing the job. Yeah, he's on the run from the law. He's kind of postponing the job that he's there to do. And you know, the way that gets resolved is very, I mean, I bet there's a much longer edit of this movie that has some of the stuff that happens off screen happening on screen because some of these characters kind of come and go.
Right.
But I did think, it's more important to like the message. Like what's in the movie has more to do with the message than with the plot.
Right.
So like some of those characters and scenes that, you know, again, you could imagine the people that added to that Cinema Score F were thinking, well, what was that in there for?
Yeah.
And I will agree with a little bit of that. Like, well, it was definitely one of those movies where you have to kind of figure out, well, why did we just sit through 15 minutes of that when it didn't amount to anything? But it's much more conceptual. It's much more about the economy. And I also think, I found myself thinking, and since we all met working retail, so we can all appreciate the notion of that middle management person.
Oh yeah.
Who they've got. I mean, again, the perception at times can be like if you're a manager and you've got people working above you and people working below you. Everyone below you is running around bumping into each other. They don't know what they're doing. Everyone above you is removed from the realities. You're just kind of trying to stay together and you're trying to stay professional. The Brad Pitt character very much is kind of like a middle manager in a company.
He's
got like very bureaucratic people above him that don't really understand what he's dealing with and expect him to have these results. And then he's trying to get people to work for him that are just not like, he ends up having to do a lot of things himself that he wouldn't have to do if the people underneath him or the people that he's kind of subcontracting. And it is funny to say the word subcontracting, but you do get the sense of crime being a business. Right down to the way that the Richard Jenkins character, the way he and Brad Pitt relate, it's totally like the corporate guy and the guy who's actually doing the job.
The dirty hands.
Yeah. And there's a scene, I thought it was a great statement about the morality in the film. There's a scene where there's a few scenes where they're sitting in Richard Jenkins' car talking. And Brad Pitt at one point takes a cigarette to light it, and Richard Jenkins says, "Don't smoke in my car." And Brad Pitt kind of thinks about it for a second, and he goes ahead and lights up. But I thought that was a great statement about like we've got these guys are killing each other and robbing from each other, and all these awful things. And Richard Jenkins is like, Don't stink up my car. For whatever you do, please don't stink up my car. And just shows how far removed he is from the work that's being done. Yeah. I don't know how accurate any of that is to like the way crime works, but it felt sort of real to me. Like as heightened and kind of like you said, dark comic kind of as much of a dark comedy as it was. It definitely felt like I could see that there's still somebody's got to figure, this hitman's making this much money for this hit. Somebody's got to be like the middleman. Someone's got to be the guy who kind of brokers the deal. Someone's got to be the person who sets the terms. And you sort of see a little bit of that in this movie.
I think one of the things I liked a lot about the movie was when you kind of see where the whole heist comes in, like, I guess the motivation or the inroad that they have that they think to pull this off. Mm-hmm. And, I guess I don't want to ruin everything, but I mean, Ray Liotta's character, what he did to his own game in the movie because of a lack of regulation or something happening. It all kicks off because of that. And I think there's a really dark mirror to like the economy. And a lot of these political things, I didn't go into the movie thinking I'd have anything to think about. Like, or I don't know where it would hit me. After the movie, I like sat back and I was like connecting all these things.
Yeah.
I think about the fact that somebody like Ray Liotta's character can perform a crime to his own game. Mm-hmm. And all I think about is the financial bailout and things like that. And there's so many connections to that. And I mean, that's kind of cool after the fact that I can put that together. But in the moment in the theater, enjoying this movie or not, depending if you were one of those people who were that's a challenge.
Apparently, if you were anyone who got a cinema score card, you didn't like this movie as much as Steve and I did.
Yeah, I did like the movie. I mean, I thought Brad Pitt I thought he was great in it. I think
what I love about him now is he's so
consistent.
He's got that thing going on where he shows his age, and this movie was not shot to hide the fact that the guy's hovering around 50 or whatever he is.
Which is insane.
Right. It is insane. But that those guys are becoming like the elder statesmen. You know what I mean? You always love when you can tell, when you can see the guy's age and you can see the character. And Brad Pitt is definitely...
I feel like Robert Redford.
Like a much more interesting actor than I thought he was at first. And this type of... He's great in this. I mean,
I agree.
He really commands the screen. The only thing that's a bit of a bummer is that I do think a truly great film is like lurking within this... decent film. It's really interesting though. I think that the political part of it, it's just that it's not subtle. That's the only problem I really have with it. Is like they'll just have like speeches on the radio or political speeches going on and kind of overlaid over the action, and you find yourself kind of like, I mean, it's not like it's inherently pretentious just to have something on your mind, but the movie did not do a very good job of kind of integrating those threads, except in the way that, as Steve mentioned, if you pour it over in your head, you can you put some of these things together. So it's definitely interesting. As a movie, though, I don't know. I mean, I admire the as I said before, I kind of admire the kooky structure of it more than I am put off by it. But it was by no means perfect, But
I want to see.
Wouldn't you rather see try something interesting and maybe not quite get it?
Say that. I was going to say I'd rather have a challenge a little bit.
People really don't like that sort of thing
at all. And that score reflects it. You know what I mean? And I did read that there's like a 2.5 hour cut of this film. Like the first cut that the director delivered was that long, and I guess they were like, no, that's not happening. So I'd be curious to see that, to see if anything else is fleshed out. I do want to say one last thing about like the political piece of it, because I am by no means a political person at all. Ever really in conversation, but researching it and like reading it and thinking about this movie for the podcast, it's really interesting to me to really kind of pick up on some of those some subtle, some not so subtle nuances that a filmmaker really takes the time to put into a movie.
Yeah.
Which literally the entire movie, and you can, if you picked up on that, all of the TVs in the background and the radios playing the speeches that Bush is talking, Obama, the debate, whatever is going on in the background, it kind of does walk you through the film. It does walk you through. I talk about the bailout. There's literally a piece of dialogue where Bush Jr. is, or W is saying that, this is a necessary thing. We have to bail these financial institutions out. And it goes right in tandem with, the whole Ray Liotta scene that I was referencing before. And then the end scene when Obama's talking about this sense of community. Driver, which is Richard Jenkins' character, is talking to Brad Pitt about, this is what he charged me. This, aren't you guys working together? And it's all about like this quote unquote community of hitmen that work with one another.
Yeah.
And that's where the line's drawn. And that's why I love that last line so much. Not that I say that I agree with it, but in the context of this film, it is a line in the sand, and it's obvious what side, the main character is on. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I think the fact that afterwards I can kind of think back to the scenes and taking notes and writing down some dialogue that I heard in those background radio broadcasts or everything, and I think about the scene that they were in, it really does kind of pair up.
What it does is it builds up to that moment.
Yes, absolutely.
It builds up to the moment when he just kind of lays it down. And what you don't really expect, and what I have to admit is maybe one of my favorite things about this movie and any movie that does this, and I think we've actually discussed this, is just knowing when to go to black.
Yes.
And it's like sometimes leaving you with a little thought. I mean, again, as much as people didn't like the last episode of The Sopranos, that going to black, it's like it leaves you with something to think about. When something goes to black before the action's done, doesn't fade while someone's, it's not a crane shot while two people are kissing. It's not it's just Chinatown, Jack, leave it. It's not one of those last moments. It's like a moment that you didn't know was a last moment until the screen went black. And then you sat there going, what, and that's what forces me. And then the first credit comes up on the screen. The last movie that did that this year that I think we've even talked about was Looper. Right. It went to black, and you sort of feel this kind of like, oh, okay, a filmmaker just decided when this movie was going to end, and didn't feel like they had to give me 30 minutes of hobbits jumping up and down on a bed or anything like that to feel like a movie has ended. And I think that's something. All these movies that are super long that we sometimes complain about, it's not knowing when or how to end a movie. That is a huge problem for me. So obviously this ending of this movie didn't work for a lot of people. Yeah. But it really did build up to that moment. And when he's basically saying, fuck promises, where's my money? Yeah. That's the theme. That's the theme of the whole thing. Because it's not so much like where's my money is the theme of the whole thing, but the theme is like promises mean dick. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I want you to take from this episode of Movie Schmovie.
Promises mean dick.
Promises mean dick.
Yeah, definitely see it, Ronald. I'd be very surprised if you didn't enjoy it.
Now that we've completely spoiled it for you, I didn't really enjoy it.
I'll still see it.
I honestly, I think that I would still recommend people to see it. I'll go against the cinema rating.
Yeah, no,
I've recommended it to about 3 or 4 people since I saw it. With trying to have them pump the brake a little bit and say, because I feel like the same thing happened to Drive. How it was kind of marketed a little bit, and like literally people sued the studio over like the way they felt about Drive in the theater, like it just misrepresented.
But there were also a lot of people really raving about Drive. I haven't heard that quite about this movie. I think it has like a 70-some% or 80 or something. It does?
On like Rotten Tomatoes, I think. Yeah, I mean, which is that's fresh.
I think that now that I sound surprised, but I do remember reading that and thinking that it's strange that Cinema Score is such a specific type of moviegoer and such a specific sort of hot off the movie kind of reaction. Whereas on Rotten Tomatoes, it's critics and it's like they're weighing more than just the immediate audience reaction to the
But here's the key about that Cinema Score rating is that's the word of mouth.
Yeah.
No,
you're right.
That's the longevity. That's the legs that they want.
Oh, you went to go see the new Brad Pitt movie. How was it? It was terrible. We hated it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's the movie's done.
It's hard.
I feel like Ronald started down and he's only gotten lower.
It's hard to talk to people about movies like that, though. Like it's.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like who I recommended to, I tried to say, don't worry about like these negative things. Like don't read any reviews and don't go in there thinking that it's the trailer that you saw. Just open mind. It does have to do with mob and hitmen and whatnot, but just have an open mind. Like I try to pump the brake a little bit because I feel like the wrong expectations been set. And I mean that's what's going to lead to a score like that. And unfortunately, this movie's done. It's not going to be. It's honestly the Weinstein company, I think, just dumped it to begin with. I think they just dumped it this past weekend, and I think they didn't know how to market it. And, I don't know how you do market it. It's a tough film to sell. There's
a great bit of like movie shorthand in it though that I want to mention just before we leave the subject, which is Ben Mendelsohn, the guy who plays Russell, the greasy friend. I didn't think about it until I saw it in this movie, but it's always a sign that the movie makers are definitely trying to let you know that a person is sleazy if they're eating and smoking a cigarette at the same time.
Yeah, that's
I feel like that's something Danny DeVito has probably done in a lot of movies. But there's a scene where Russell walks up on a nice hot day and he's smoking a cigarette and eating a popsicle, like eating like a creamsicle, like a Heath Bar style with like the crunchy. And it's like you can't tell what he's eating, but you can definitely see him, puffing on a butt. And then when he gets up there, he's still eating the popsicle, and you just think like, that his mouth tastes bad. He can't even be enjoying that popsicle. His taste buds are so dead. So yeah, smoking and eating at the same time.
Smoking and eating that's gross.
Yeah.
That's pretty gross.
That's also a person who's trying to pack too much into life, I think.
Yeah. You got to space those things out. That's gross.
I don't know. I say go see it.
Yeah.
It's tough to say, that you're going to like it, but I'd give it a shot. I'd always see anything. I'm that Brad Pitt guy. I mean, he's like one of my favorites. Yeah. Absolutely. I would love to see anything he's in, but...
Well, I wouldn't recommend it to just anyone, but I do think Ronald in particular, like I think you would appreciate some of the stuff that we're talking about, like the way that it is... It tries so many different things.
Yeah.
And I don't know that's not necessarily a statement about what a success it is, but you would not get bored while you're watching. And it's also pretty short.
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Really?
It's short, yeah.
I'll go see it.
So Lincoln's in theaters, Kill Him Softly's in theaters. Every other movie that we talked about at the beginning of the podcast is either in theaters or on DVD.
Yeah. And see End of Watch. Oh.
I got it. Yeah, man, that's on my list now.
And you need that's back out?
You need to see Let Me In.
I do.
You have to.
I do.
Yeah, End of Watch, I read that as well as Joe Carnahan's The Gray. They're doing like, I guess not qualify, but like they basically want to reintroduce the films for consideration. So I think The Gray is only going to really be playing initially in like 2 theaters out in California. But I did read that End of Watch may get a couple more. I mean, because apparently like Roger Ebert, named it like one of his top films of the year.
Oh yeah.
So like they're all on the boat now about like we need to try to, because I think they're trying to get possibly best film. Don't think it's going to happen, but and in the 2 acting categories, actor and supporting actor for Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena. I got to see it, man. I've heard nothing but positive, and with you raving about that, like it's going to be seen within the next 24 hours.
You like Southland like I like Southland.
Oh, we talk about Southland all the time.
So
yeah, so I'll need to see End of Watch.
But. So be back next week, folks, for the great remake debate.
That's going to be intense.
Hopefully it's the first of many, because I think this could go on forever.
I'm going to have some brass knuckles with me.
As long as I have hard drive space for us to record onto, this debate can rage.
It's going to be intense. I'm putting my cock on the table. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that meant in relation to this conversation.
Maybe I should set up like standing mics that night. That might be.
It just felt very appropriate for that.
I want you to know this is a family table.
Yeah. Meals have been eaten on this table.
My colors on this table.
Not after the next episode, he won't be.
No. Henry, don't do that. Why not? Just don't do it.
Not a very happy ending. Not a very happy ending.
Don't put your sippy cup down there.
Don't do it. Reconsider.
All right, guys. So every week we say, but check out movieschmovie.net. Mm-hmm. John, we got you up there now. We got to get you on the site. John's going to start getting involved with it.
Contributor, which he should have been months ago.
We're very quick on these
we
things.
Just abolished.
Now I have to contribute something.
Yeah.
God damn it.
And then we have the movieschmovie@gmail.com if you have any suggestions. But most importantly, as we always say, the iTunes is where it's at in terms of subscribing, rating. Even if you don't even want to subscribe, you can go to the page and listen to us, and even just like share our link on Facebook and just do us a favor.
I saw that somebody reviewed us as recently as October 4th.
Wow!
Really?
And I want to say, someone out there, knock that person off the pedestal. Let's see a December review on there.
Hey now,
yeah,
hi yo.
But wait a minute, that means that for the last 4 weeks, all of our imploring people to go and leave a review has done nothing. Wow. Who are you? Who's listening?
Right.
How do you know soul?
Let us know.
It's the holiday season.
Right.
Give us one thing. It's a rating.
Right. A rating. How
Or
hard
even
is
some
it?
stars.
Just move your goddamn fingers and click that goddamn
I would
button.
leave a glowing review if I wasn't afraid. It would say like, because my Gmail address is John Walker, co-host of Movie Schmovie at gmail.com. So it would be too
right, it'll be too blatant.
too self-serving.
Very obvious. Very obvious.
I got you.
Yeah, so hit those channels up. Let us know what you think. Any suggestions for episodes. We're really trying to get into the idea of not always just reviewing films, but maybe having conversations on certain topics like the remakes and, just kind of things of that nature, or the holiday films that we did a little while ago. So if you have any cool suggestions, throw them our way. We're always open to
Even if you have any stupid suggestions, we'll hear them out.
Yeah, we'll hear them, and then we'll just write back and say, no, that's stupid. Don't ever email us
Or we'll
again.
just say it on air and say your email address.
And have everybody else.
This stupid email is from a jackass.
All right, and that marks the end of this podcast. Ronald's like he's
Poor Ronald. We've
he's
kept him
like
up
giddy
past his
right
bedtime.
now. he's just so having so much fun.
I sense a real sadness that he didn't see Killing
I know,
Him Softly
man.
before this episode.
Yeah.
Oh, guys.
You could have talked with me about Greasy Russell.
Right. I would have loved to have talked to him. We can talk about Abu Nazir after this.
All right.
What a bastard, by the way.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to episode 53 of the Movie Schmovie podcast. And as always, you've made our day. Now give my fucking money.
Now fucking pay me.
Fucking pay me.